I'm Ray Casberry. I'm CEO and co-founder of a company in Palo Alto called Zypline Services. What we build are internet applications, connection platforms, and we've just completed several applications which I'd like to tell you about. Our team, the management team that has built these products and who have designed most of the marketing strategy, have a large international experience. They've worked in Asia, they've worked in the Middle East. I myself have worked in Kuwait and Beirut. I've lived in Europe, made some acquisitions, built out companies in Europe. This is all important because the products that we're releasing apply to all of these markets. So our team is well experienced in strategy, market development, delivering the product to the field, following up, communicating, and because of that we think we'll be very successful in this space. It's an interesting question. You know, people wonder what drives people to build products. The real answer is you've been doing it all your life, and you just cycle through different markets and different products. And as the mobile world grew, and as everyone in the world got a mobile phone, it suddenly opened up a lot of new opportunities. So we created a series of products to match this new world, where everyone, A, has a mobile phone, but B, more interestingly, what's happening is no one changes their number, even if they change states, move around. So as a result, you've now developed a personal identification, which is your mobile. And based on that, we can build a lot of products, a lot of use cases, deliver a lot of value, and there's a lot of people now writing about this phenomenon. Matter of fact, Wired magazine a month ago just said your phone number may be your only ID you'll ever need. When you execute a strategy, what's important is to have a market that's ready for your product. Okay? Then build a strategy to deliver your technology to that market. Right? Because of what's occurred, if you can visualize 3-4 years ago, you couldn't really talk to everyone about a mobile phone. You couldn't talk to everyone about an app. They would say, please, no computer, stop. Now you can't go anywhere without somebody using an app or asking you about an app, or you watch people sitting in the diner who comparing notes to each other. I mean, the market has changed dramatically. We've been early in this market, and we've kind of struggled with building everything as we grew. As the market shifted, we suddenly have a lot of interest in these kind of products. And we're very excited by that because our strategy is now cohering with actually the direction the market's going in. So the market size, in a sense, is very obvious because we realize everyone has a phone or is going to get a mobile phone. So the intersection is that my mobile number, I'm making calls, I'm doing searches. So Google just finished a study that the behavior of people when they do a mobile search, let's say, find me a German restaurant, up come 6 choices. What people then do is they click to call. They say, hey, I see you're in Belmont, is there a table tonight? That click to call, those calls from mobile search to business were 78 billion this year, Google reported. 78 billion. It's going to be 200 billion in 2019. So the market has suddenly shifted. There's a lot more phone calls being made. It's a little bit invisible at the moment, but it is 200 billion just from mobile search. So ZipCall is one of our favorite use cases. And when we converted one of our product platforms to mobile, we realized that because we use the mobile phone as an identifier on the platform, you could actually call that number. And that opened up a whole new area we call ZipCall. So what happens is when you make a call, you could be on hold, the person could answer, not answer, you could be in voicemail. I hear if you call the California Department of Motor Vehicles, you could wait 45 minutes for someone to answer. So during this whole time, you can actually get information displayed on your phone that was posted by the person you're calling or the business you're calling. Extremely valuable time. You're not waiting, pushing buttons or holding. You're actually getting content. So a good example is you call a bank. You really want to know if they're open. You don't need to go through 1, 2, 3, what's your number, what's your social security. Just want to know if you're open. Imagine if as you called the bank, on your screen came, we're open tonight till 7, here's an address, here's a local ATM. By the way, the dollar exchange rate to the euro is now this. So in other words, you get an assortment of data on your phone while no one's even answered yet. So that is a huge impact on your time waiting on hold, and it's an enormous impact on the call center. The statistics of call centers are interesting. 75% of the costs are salaries. Okay? New York City call center is like $2.80 it costs them to answer a call. Detroit, $8.70. Los Angeles, $4. These suddenly grow to be pretty big numbers. LA, for example, gets 1.5 million calls a year to their service line. This is huge numbers of calls. So cutting down on the call center's overhead of delivering information, because they know why you're calling, or at least they know why 84% of you are calling. You're calling for these reasons. So when you call a call center, they're not talking to you, they're reading. And you say, when's the parade over? You just called the police department. When's the parade over? Parade's over at 2 o'clock. When's the park? So all those questions have already been thought about and answered. So it's not like we're inventing this methodology. It's already electronic. It's sitting on the screen at the police station. You can imagine if there's a fire downtown. It's a big fire. Oh my God, should we get out of town? Call the police. Should we get out of town? On your phone could come, no worries, don't get out of town, or evacuate immediately. I mean, that's valuable. You're not waiting with anxiety. Should I run, should I not run? So there's always competition. Nobody wants to say to the world, nobody else does this, right? So there's alternatives. But there's no direct competition for making a phone call and getting content before they answer, okay? That's something we've built, that's something we have an existing patent for, and our attorneys say if somebody tries to do that, just send us a short email, we'll take care of it. But you still, even if you have a patent, you still need to take a strong market share, take leadership in the market is the real way you protect your product. So no one's doing it right now, but trust me, as soon as it gets out and the value is shown, you're going to see other people attempting it. But it's not so easy. The part of the challenge in any software product, particularly ours, which has a high volume potential in a very broad market, is how do you get the message out? How do you connect with your users? What's the most efficient way to do that? Well, we're serving the things I just told you about. I told you about Domino's, Emirates, banks. These are enterprise products. This is where we're working. However, there's a huge market. Bank of America, Merrill Lynch did a study they call the bottom billions. They said 3 to 4 billion people that represent $56 trillion of e-commerce. No one knows how to get to. And the problem is these people aren't spending time online. They aren't running around trying to learn the latest thing. They're busy. They work all day. They get home and take care of their kids. They're busy people. So what we're doing is we're inventing a way to get to that market. And one of the things, again, the market shifts in our favor again, is a new wave called cryptocurrency or tokens. And what this does is it gives you two things. It gives you a new source of funding from this huge market of users, and then you let them use your token in the business channel. So as a result, they're not only benefiting from what you're giving them, but they're able to use a special currency without having a credit card, without finding a way to transfer money or things like that. So we're going to create, and we have created, something called Zypline, which is going to be a token, and it'll be in the market sometime in the fall of 2017, and it will enable these products to be used all over the world for very little money. And the distribution channel will be, you can visualize a print and copy center. Someone goes in and says, make me 100 copies of my house painting flyer. And when you go to check out, they'll say, well, Harry, why don't I put this on the internet for you? and get you a zip token, get you a zip coin. And that transaction makes the token, makes the use of the token valuable in the market. They suddenly exchange tokens. Harry, the print and copy center is our agent, is our distributor. He gets a token every time he loads someone up. He can then take his tokens and buy print supplies from a company, a paper supplier, who takes cryptocurrency. So this is a very new wave of dealing with huge markets, dealing with people that are unbanked, for example, which are 2 to 3 billion people, and actually moving them from a very simple process to pushing them online, and they're now competing with everyone else. And because of the new token acceptance in the world and support of that, we're able to move into those markets. So we're going very heavily invested into creating this zip coin or this token for that market. The opportunity for the token, again, it's this market that is currently working every day, but doesn't have a website. It's never going to have a website for a lot of reasons. There's an investment to be made when you do a website. These people are busy, you know a lot of them. And very, very interesting statistic. GoDaddy did a study, and they found that 55% of sole proprietor contractors, electricians, guys with great trucks, 55% of American sole proprietor small business do not have a website in America. So there's an inertia, there's a blocking factor to create a website. And if that's happening in America, you can imagine what's happening around the world. These people have less infrastructure, less disposable income, less ability to call a consultant or whatever. So that market is where we'll be able to go into, and they won't need a credit card or they won't need a bank. They'll be able to use our token to buy services. Well, the company has a strategic plan, and typically when people try to go into new markets, they don't take time to build a plan. Our team is experienced at building strategic marketing plans, particularly for global markets. So we've designed a three strategic initiatives to gain leadership in this particular market of tokens and billions of new users. And the first one we call posting, and that's a strategy to maximize the number of people who can get a flyer, a profile of their business online as quickly as possible. And that strategy is we're going to empower distributors, partners, and agents all through this market to load those up. For example, someone goes to a print and copy center and says, here's my flyer, piano teacher. I need 100 copies. They make 100 copies, but the attendant, who's our distributor, says, hey, I'll put this on the internet for you. Take 1 minute. And it's like, whoa, computer. But that agent then, that distributor, will put that flyer up. And we'll be doing that all through the region. One of the more interesting things is the agents can also be mobile. So we're building an app right now. So literally someone on a bicycle or motorcycle, whatever, can go to a farm, can go to a church, can go to a fair, and over a 2-hour period, collect data and set up profiles on the internet. That mobile agent is another one of our plans to capture that market. So that whole first wave is posting, is to get this content up. And we're talking about millions and millions of people. The second strategic initiative is now that those posters are up there, we literally can enable people to buy product from that very simple poster that was uploaded at the agent. So for example, someone that makes hats, sells them in the street, has a flyer, has a profile of their business, and they have uploaded that in the posting. What we do now is we enable a customer to see that flyer online, click on it, and buy that hat just from the photo on that Word document that was pushed up. This is an app we have up and running in the lab. We've tested it. We've linked it to fulfillment and delivery companies. It works. Good example. A tourist from Paris visits Brazil and buys a hat in the market, $2, whatever. Trips over, they're back home. Wow, this is a good hat. Wow, I want to get more of these hats. There's no way currently in the world to do that except to go back to Brazil and walk down that street again. Okay. In the hat is the phone number of the vendor. You put that phone number on Zypline, on Zypcoin, and you will get the flyer of that hat. You click on the hat, you can buy the hat. And that e-commerce, which we're calling flyer e-commerce, will enable what Bank of America said is the bottom billions, $56 trillion e-commerce market. It'll enable us to get a piece of that market. And at 56 trillion, it doesn't matter what piece you get, it's a good enough piece. Right. The third initiative we have is to build our network of partners, offices, and users of our token by acquiring companies that are in the market now. The typical acquisition target would be a company that started a year ago, a year and a half ago, had a good idea. There's probably 10 of them like that. They raised money for their company, they built a token, they got people to invest, but they're in a very small regional market and they're not doing so well. So that's called a distressed company. What our team will do is identify these companies around the world and acquire them and integrate them into the Zypcoin network by buying the actual company and the people. So now you've got 3 good people who have just worked 18 months in a market and did so-so. Now you're giving them an opportunity to join our company, okay? And at the same time, we're going to exchange the tokens that their customers bought in their network. We're going to exchange those tokens for our tokens. The result of this kind of acquisition not only builds up your offices. I mean, can you imagine hiring people in Algeria to be your, you just can't do it. But if you acquire somebody that's in your market space for 2 years or 1 year, you've got ready-made employees, they already know the business. And then secondly, by exchanging the tokens they sold, let's call it a Q token. We go and we say, oh, you have 10,000 Q tokens, we'll give you 1,000 Zypcoin. They make that exchange of value. Now our Zypcoin token is now waved out further in the market. And that strategy is probably the one that's going to grow the company the biggest over the next couple of years. The outline of the roadmap, or the major steps, are the first thing we're going to do is take the existing apps and platforms that are working in the enterprise and the small business industry segments, and we're going to adapt those and migrate those over to a product that works perfectly well for this new audience, this bottom billions. So step 1 of the roadmap is get these products working in this market. Get the posting product working, make the e-commerce product work, add some kind of payment mechanisms, include, for example, what's called a blockchain, which is going to enable the hat maker in Brazil to successfully and securely sell a hat to somebody in Paris, and that transaction will be completely online. Nobody has to worry about it, 100% secure. So the first thing is to get all those things going. The second thing in parallel to that will be to build the acquisition and training team. So we're hiring people who are experienced at making acquisitions. They'll create this inventory, this catalog, etc. And then they will engage these people, acquire them, and then these people will go through a training course. We're not just going to buy them and say, hey, I hope you did well. They're actually going to come back for a week or two and go through, here's how a partner and an agent works, here's how you support that market. And the third part of the roadmap, which again is not that hard, but it's out there, is to find companies that take cryptocurrency in payment, okay? And build a catalog of companies that would serve our market. A good example is a company that makes printer products for print companies like copy paper. The ability for our partner, who happens to be a print copy center, to use Zypline and buy that paper online is something we have to do in our roadmap. That'll be probably the fourth or fifth step, probably a year or so out. The token world, the cryptocurrency world is rather new, and there are very few people that really know how to set it up securely and appropriately. We're working with a law firm in Silicon Valley, DLA Piper, which happens to be one of the largest law firms in the world. They actually have a task force to understand cryptocurrencies and initial coin offerings, and we're working directly with that task force. So we probably have the best procedure and the best structure you could possibly get. One of the things we're doing, which is not required, is we are requiring our investors to be accredited investors. So essentially we're gonna check them out as far as know your customer, we're gonna check them out for assets, pure accredited things. In the past, a lot of token offerings were totally open to the public. So anyone from anywhere in the world could put $10, $1, and some of that stuff got into trouble. The pressure right now is starting to be generated from the SEC to figure out how to regulate these things. We will probably never be regulated because we're not created a token that you want to hold as a security, like a Bitcoin. Our token is going to be used in the field like a software app. So most probably we will never be in the purview of the SEC. However, as a prudent posture, we are going to only allow accredited investors to invest in our tokens. And that way we're covered no matter what way the law comes out over the next couple of years.